Welcome to the program Inspire Children. Today we are talking about a very positive and important component in the development of our children, modeling behavior. And today we have in the house Coach Xavier to help us to understand what is modeling in terms of our children. Welcome to the program, Coach X.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be back.
Yeah, it's good to have you here. And you know, as we continue to have this conversation, one of the things that we see is many families are being impacted. We are getting reviews and questions, and people want more clarity on some of the things that they really need to do when it comes to helping their children, building them up one way or the other, avoiding the negatives and, you know, reinforcing the positive. And today you are the expert to really help us understand what is modeling of children's behavior when we look at their journey of life.
Yeah, I think this is a great topic. I'm really excited about it today. You know, as a parent, it also probably got me to learn to think about how am I also doing it with my kids and all the kids that are around me.
Oh, yes.
And so I think for me, where it all starts is what is really modeling, or what is it about?
Yeah.
And I think for me, it comes down to demonstrating and influencing.
Yes.
So to me, I think modeling, if we were to go back to school, I would call it a verb, because it's a doing word.
It's a doing word.
It's not something that you just talk about and just leave. It's something that calls people, or that takes people to action.
Yeah, so, you know, I like the way you've put it across, that it's a doing word. It's something that people are doing every day,
Yes.
whether in the home, whether in the school.
Yes.
So what is the current state of modeling that we're observing in this current generation, Coach?
It's a complex one,
Yeah.
because we have both positive and negative modeling and influence that is happening.
Yeah.
I would give you an example. We have a lot of good kids that have actually that have come out of our systems, that you can tell that this one, if they're coming from a good community, they're coming from a good environment. By the way they do things, their attitude, their value systems and everything. And then also there's negative one, where you find how people are actually behaving, whether be it in public, in transport and all. I think we'll unpack a lot as we go, but there are two things that are actually coming out, both maybe from the community and as well from social networks and social media as well. It has actually impacted us both negatively and positively as well.
Yeah, you know, I get to wonder when I look at the youthful group, what has really happened in there. You find elements of kind of rebellion, disrespect. You know, I know when we were growing up, one of the things that was modeled was that, probably the simple example I can give is that when an adult gets, when you get in a bus, you know, and you know, an adult gets in the bus, you are seated, you are supposed to, you know, they look like simple things, but I think they really influenced how people were brought up. So, Coach, when we look at that, where should people start right now? Can we say modeling is something people say, you know, we'll postpone it later? At what time? At what point do they start?
We cannot postpone it. There are two things that I always think about. The first one is that the mind is a slave of repetition.
Yes.
So
Mind is a slave of repetition.
yes. So whatever you do, the more you do it, the more you talk about it, becomes the state of your mind. It becomes the state of your doing.
Yes.
And then there's a statement that was actually spoken by Hitler. He says, "Tell them a lie, be consistent with the lie, it becomes their truth."
Yes.
So how we model them, we cannot wait for tomorrow. We have to start today, and we have to start now.
Yeah.
I want to give you an example. It's something that it worries me a lot. And I thank God that I see it every day, and I thought, when are we going to talk about it? And I'm grateful and I'm happy that today we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
You know, have you ever seen how... I want to give you an example.
Yeah.
I was driving into town along Leopold close to Parinyatwa, and then there was traffic congestion. As there was traffic congestion, so our cars were moving just slowly. So I saw this lady, and then she just crossed the road, and then she went, and there are trees that are close to Parinyatwa. Then she went there, just around the tree, and then she used it as a toilet, and then she came back.
Hey.
So it got me thinking that
This is in the urban setup.
this is in the urban setup, and everyone is passing by. And you know, for me, in Shona tembo that kushaya nyadzi kwacho kwakanyanyisa.
Kwakanyanyisa,
And I've seen
yes.
it with a lot of men
It's now
doing
happening.
that.
It's
now a
becoming
habit.
more. Yes.
Yes. So do you know why it's becoming a habit? It didn't start now.
Yes.
It started when they were kids. So when we are modeling,
Yes.
when we parents say, when our child say, they don't want to use the restrooms, you know what we do? We say, just go
Just
over
go
there.
out. Oh goodness, you're saying
So
something.
when we say, go over there and just do it,
Yeah.
so they do it in front of people, right? Because daddy said it's okay.
Yeah.
So when they grow up, this is the generation that we're told it's okay
Yes.
to do it.
It's okay.
So now they're doing it, and it's okay
It's
because we
okay.
allowed it when they were young.
Yeah.
So everything that was built, it was built in their formative years.
Oh yes, yeah. You know, that's such a powerful observation, and it's things that we have to correct. You know, from what you're saying, Coach. You know, the things that we do today, like you said, when we repeat them, they become a truth, and when we leave them, they get into the next generation and into the other generation. And so from what you're saying, Coach, so modeling can be positive and negative. Can you speak more about that?
Yes, so negative is what I've just spoken about.
Yeah.
Where kids are doing all the negative stuff and even they go into adulthood doing the same stuff. There's actually some talk, I think you've actually mentioned it before, that when a child grows up in a system where she sees or he sees her mother or his mother being beaten, they think that it's okay.
It's okay.
Right? So when they get married, psychologists say some girls actually prefer men that beat them.
Yes.
Why? Because they saw it happening in their to their mothers, and they think it's okay.
It's okay.
They think it's normal. And some men think it's normal to beat their wives because they saw their father doing it.
Yes.
So how we model, we do not talk about it.
Yeah,
Kids see what we're doing. And when they see what we're doing, it's crazy.
Yeah, they take it on.
They take it on.
You know, Coach, the things you're saying today are so powerful, and these I know, but no family is spared from this thing. We are going to get back to this particular area soon after the break. Viewers, don't go away. We have a powerful conversation happening today. Welcome back to the program. We are talking about modeling behavior. Guess what? Coach X says that something that is repeated, it becomes, a value. It becomes a truth. So, Coach, when we went on break, you were speaking something very critical. Can you move on to what you're saying?
Yes, we spoke about the negatives, and I want us to also look at the positives.
Yeah.
You know, I want to go to soccer, basketball, sport, and life as well. I want to just unpack all of this. When we were growing up, you'd find that one of the best soccer players to come out of Zimbabwe, if not the best, was Peter Ndlovu or Moses Chunga and all. And everyone wanted to be like Moses Chunga.
Everyone wanted to play soccer.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you get into the field, everyone will say, I'm Peter Ndlovu.
Yes.
So you know how Peter Ndlovu models his life is how other kids model their lives. If you go to international stage, there's a guy called Cristiano Ronaldo.
Yes.
He probably has the most viewership or most followership, I think, on social media.
Yeah.
So what does that mean? That means there are a lot of people that are modeling their lives around him.
Yeah.
And there are some parents, not outside Zimbabwe, in Zimbabwe, that have actually called their kids Cristiano.
Yeah.
So that means there's a certain thing that they've gotten that is positive, that they've actually built, or that they've emulated and that they love in Peter Ndlovu. You know, and there's a guy in the US who is a basketball player. Yeah. His name is Steph Curry. Every kid I know who wants to play basketball wants to shoot a three-pointer.
That person.
They want to shoot a three-pointer, but Steph Curry is probably the greatest three-point shooter we've ever had.
Wow.
So that now, and then Steph Curry, how he started and everything there, what he went through. One of the things that he wanted to do was to always have a Bible verse on his shoes.
Oh.
So one time I was watching an NBA game, and then this guy I was sitting with says, look at that guy. I've actually forgotten his name.
Yeah.
And then he plays for another team as well. And then he says he's got a shoe. And he's got a shoe brand. And the shoe brand also has a Bible verse.
Wow.
So that's what positive influence
Yeah.
and positive modeling
Shapes us.
demonstrate and influence and shapes the next person.
Yeah.
So that's why I said modeling can actually build you positively
Yeah.
or negatively.
You know, so Coach, I'm really liking this conversation. You know, so in our Zimbabwean context, in our African context, we need to have this habit of building more on the positive, from what you're saying, because we are like passing on values, we are passing on certain behaviors, we are passing on certain ways of doing things. You know, can you just challenge I know we've got social media people, talk about the social media. You've talked about it when you gave us those examples. Talk about the social media and how people who are involved in social media should contribute to positive building of our nation in terms of values. Because you know why I'm asking this question? I have realized it seems like there's a trend. Maybe it's my wrong observation. There's a trend where people think that when they do skits that have got vulgar skits that are demeaning other people in character, they think it's what will get them popular. It's what will get them numbers. Can you talk and address that?
Yes. I think before we get to that, there's something that I just wanted to say.
Yeah.
You said no house is spared, so I'm just coming down.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard the statement, uyakafanana na baba vake?
Oh, yes. Yes.
It speaks a lot.
It speaks a lot.
And uyakafanana sekuru vake.
Ndo mataurira
Ndo mataurira avo.
Yes.
You know, so
Neka urudu gacho.
yes.
His aggression.
So consciously or subconsciously, we are actually modeling kids.
We're actually modeling
So now, I think the guys that we are calling social influencers or content creators, those guys, I don't think we should call them that. We should actually be calling them social modelers, or because they are actually modeling the next generation.
Yeah.
You know, I was looking at a certain artist. You would find that there were a lot of people that loved him and they love him and they respected him and all. But a good number of his content was more about drugs and everything. Yeah. So you look at the people that followed him, if you look at most of them, they're also into drugs, they're also into all that. It's not because it was his way of doing things, but it was what he's saying. So everything that he said actually was influencing.
It was passed on.
You know? So there is a certain word in the Bible that says there is the power, and the power of life and death lies in the tongue. Yeah. And now our social modelers have a challenge, because the challenge is they're going to bring life or death to the next generation by the way they do things. You know? So I agree with you 100%. That, you know, 90% of these kids and a good number of our podcasters, they are actually focusing on the negative stuff. The things that are influence the communities negatively. You know, we don't realize that there's a 5-year-old boy in Budiriro who's watching your skit, and you're talking a lot about vulgar, about bedroom stories and all that stuff. We're exposing our kids to things that they're not supposed to be exposed to at an early age. So how are we modeling and how are we building them? By the time they get to 12, they get to 15, that's when you start hearing that there are boys that are raping kids and all that stuff. They think it's normal because we have already normalized it in the way we do things.
So people cannot take for granted the things they speak and the things they say. You know, it just gets me to say, you know what, the gatekeepers of the country need to really put people to task on what we permit within our nation, what we permit within our screens. I think we once talked about it a few days ago. That, you know, people have to be cognizant of saying, when we embrace certain people, when we embrace certain behaviors, we are literally imprinting 3-4 generations down the line. And the things that we take for granted today, in a couple of years, is going to become a problem. It's going to become a worry, just like you indicated on issues of drugs. You know, it just started as something small. People took it for granted, that they're watching movies of people doing smoking and drugs. Before you know it, people have embraced it into the society. And before you know it, we have a problem. Thank you so much, Coach, for those insightful elements that you are bringing and challenging our people. We'll get back to you soon after the break. Viewers, don't go away. We are modeling behavior for the next generation. Welcome back to the program Inspire Children, and today we are talking about how we can best model our children and impact the values and the direction of their lives. So, Coach, what are some of the ways in which we can model our children well?
Be authentic.
Yeah.
So there was a discussion or conversation that we had at a certain point.
Yeah.
That a child said, the father that I see on the pulpit or the pastor that I see on the pulpit is a different man from the father that I see at home. So the question becomes, what do you think is going through this
the
kid's
mind of the child?
And how are we modeling his behavior? So if the father is authentic, that means when what you do at home is what you do at church.
Yeah.
So the smile that you give at church is the same smile that you give at home.
Yeah.
But when it becomes different, that means that there's going to be a problem in terms of how you are.
It confuses children.
It confuses children because now they don't know. So the next thing. The next thing is that the social influencers, the social modelers are now the people that are going to model your child.
So the child now, if they can't find it at home, they get out of that circle and pick the behavior from elsewhere.
Yes. So you remember we said there's a conversation that we had in the previous interview where we said the mindset there's the amygdala. We say that a man either flees, frees, or fights. Right? But what happens when a cat is put against the wall? Right? Either it jumps and flees, or it fights. It never freezes. So that's a lot with a lot of children.
Yes.
They are looking for an escape.
Yeah.
So sometimes that's why you find that a child is actually addicted to pornography. A child is addicted to this. Why? Because that's their escape route.
Yeah.
So their behavior is modeled by their escape route.
Yeah. Those are quite frightening things that are really happening.
Yes.
Where it's challenging adults, caregivers, parents to reinforce the positive and to show the example. What other strategies can you talk about? So, you talked about authenticity. People have to be authentic. I was actually thinking when you spoke about that to the fact that when someone is preaching love, and then when they come back, for example, into their extended family setup, they don't demonstrate their love. They show the opposite. Yeah, their child hears them speaking about we need to be loving people. Love is kind, love is patient. But when it comes within now the broader family, they see the opposite that adults are doing. Can you comment more on that, Coach?
We have to be mindful of everything that we do as parents.
Yeah.
I want to give you this example. So one time I was driving. As I was driving, there is something that happened. Right now Harare is a jungle.
Yeah.
And the way people are driving is bad. And then one of my daughters asked me, he says, Daddy, what did that person do? I said, guys, you need to tell me, what did he do? Then they said, he was not kind. He didn't demonstrate love. He was not patient.
Yeah.
And it took me back to one of the times where we were talking about something that is in the Bible, where it talks about the fruit of the Spirit.
Exactly.
And then I said, guys, so what does the fruit of the Spirit say? Then it says love, kindness, self-control, gentleness. And then so for me now, when I'm talking to them, if they do something, I say, did it show love?
Wow.
Did it show this? So ideally, as I'm now mindful of it.
Yeah.
So as I'm modeling their behavior, I'm actually modeling their behavior on something that I've shown them, that I've taught them, and that we are going to grow with them.
So you demonstrate it.
I'm demonstrating and I'm influencing them too. But everything comes from me being mindful about it.
Yeah. There is also a common example that, I've seen. When people throw litter out of the car. And the children are there. They're witnessing. There's simple things as that. It's modeling.
Yes, it's modeling. So when I was coming here, I was actually thinking about something. So when we were growing up, I don't remember. So in our family, I have 4 siblings. So we are 5 in our family. I don't remember a day that it was just the 5 of us. And or the 7 of us. I don't remember a day in our house where it was like that. So we had people that came through, strangers,
Yeah.
some relatives, some even distant. I remember there was one guy, I only knew him when he came to Harare to look for work. My dad looked for work for him and got him a job. He went out, I never saw him again.
Yeah.
You know, and another one came, and you just thought, no, this is your brother. So when you're calling him Koma, Sisi,
Yeah.
all that, right? Now that I'm grown, you know what? I don't know how many kids and how many people and how many relatives, distant or close, that have actually passed or live in my house. Why? And it's not something that I struggle with.
Yeah.
Because it's something that I saw my parents take me through. So it's now it's second nature to me because it's something that was inbuilt.
Yeah.
So it became something that was demonstrated and something that was influenced in me.
Yes.
So it's the same thing with litter. I say to my kids, you know what? Let the car be dirty.
Yes.
If we get home, we clean the car.
Clean the car.
But we will not throw litter outside.
Oh, yes.
So they know. So if they see someone throwing litter outside, they say, he dirty. Someone threw litter outside. They think it's something that is out of this world. And yes, it's out of this world. So it's something that I think we can build and we can model kids when they're still young.
Powerful. You know, I like what you're saying, Coach. You know, when we are modeling, we are not only doing it for our family. You know, when compounded together, the group of people that have been modeled positively, we are able to build a positive society. We are able to go forward as a country. We are able to have politicians, lawyers that are straightforward, you know, from what you're saying.
Yes.
Thank you so much for bringing these highlights. You know, as we conclude the program, what would be your words probably to the adults and to the children?
So to adults, you know, today I actually thought about it and I was saying, is this session really going to be for kids or for adults?
It's for everybody.
And I realized that, you know what, it's really going to impact, or it's really going to hit a lot on adults.
Yeah.
As much as it's going to hit on the young kids. But we also got to know that we can't start modeling men.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
You know, it's difficult to repair a man than to build a boy.
Oh, yes.
So we gotta start them when they're young.
Yeah. Build
By the
the
time
boys.
they get to 3, by the time they get 2 years, they can be built. When you're a pregnant woman and your child is in there, what do you speak to your child in there?
Yes.
You know, everything that you do from the time of conception to the time they are birthed, to the time that they grow. They say that we actually build and model them up to the age of 12.
Yeah.
So by the time they get to 13, 14, they are actually living or walking in the path of how or what we've modeled them when they are still young. So those are the kids that we're going to see in Chikondi.
Later on. Yeah.
You know, and all those things. When it's time to model them, let's model them in a positive way.
Yeah.
They've got to know these are these are adults, and this is how you treat them, this is how you respect adults. When you see an adult, regardless of where they're coming from, you just say good morning, you just say good afternoon, you say it does not take anything away from you, just to be respectful. So when we start modeling something like that, hakuna manzi mwana ndi wangu.
Yeah.
When we were growing up, we knew that it takes a village to raise a son or to raise a child. So it's still the same today.
Yeah.
It's just us as parents that needs to go back to the old ways where we actually build the kids the right way.
Wow.
Yes.
Profound ways. You know, there is nothing called democracy when you're modeling children.
Yes.
We need to know what they want and we do what they want. We have to tell them what is the right path and we build on them. Thank you so much, Coach X, for coming to the program. I think we're going to have second session and third session. I know there are viewers that have been sending comments. Some have been telling us, you know what, when we are listening to Inspire Children, sometimes we take notes and we are going to give as much information that people can take notes and apply. Dear viewers, thank you for joining us on Inspire Children. We are modeling children and we had Coach in the house and he's highlighting that your behavior, the way you do things, that doing word, the acting part, he has to reinforce the right things. And when we do that, together we can build a better Zimbabwe. Through our voices, we can transform the next generation and ensure that our nation goes on a positive trajectory. Thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to having you next time on the program. If you've got comments, you've got questions that you need us to answer, feel free to send your comments and your questions on the numbers below. Thank you. See you. Goodbye.